Israel and Palestinian heading for uncontainable crisis, UN chief warns. 42 Palestinians killed by airstrikes in Gaza as Hamas launches more rocket attacks on Israel. The eruption of the Israel Palestinian conflict is heading for an uncontainable security and humanitarian crisis. The UN Secretary General has warned after a day of significant escalation with 42 Palestinians killed by airstrikes in Gaza. The death toll made it the deadliest single attack since fighting broke out between Israel and Palestinian militant groups Hamas a week ago. 50 Palestinians were injured. Meanwhile, air raid sirens sounded for the seventh consecutive day across southern Israel as Hamas and other militant groups in Gaza launched more rocket attacks into the country and reaching further than in the entirety of the 2014 war. As the United Nations Security Council met in a specially convened session, foreign ministers and ambassadors called for ceasefire for both sides to respect international humanitarian law, but there was no sign of even a temporary truce to allow medics in Gaza to recover people alive and dead from under collapsed buildings. The fighting risks dragging Israel and Palestinians into a spiral of violence with devastating consequences for both communities and for the entire region. Antonio Guterres told the Council it has the potential to unleash an uncontainable security and humanitarian crisis and to further foster extremism, not only in the occupied Palestinian territory and Israel, but in region as a whole. The UN coordinator for the Middle East peace process, Tor Wensley, summed up the week's dark balance sheet. 950 Israel airstrikes on Gaza have killed 181 Palestinians, including 52 children. Over the same period, more than 2,900 rockets were fired by Hamas, and Palestinian Islamic Jihad killed 10 people, including 2 children. Wensland said 40 schools and 4 hospitals were completely or partially destroyed in Gaza and 18 buildings, including 4 high-rise towers, including one housing several press offices, has been razed. The Norwegian diplomat also warned of the impact of loss of power supply inside the Palestinian enclave. The lack of electricity has resulted in a decrease of clean water and sewage treatment affecting hundreds of thousands, he said, adding that the Gaza health system will likely be unable to meet the needs of those injured during the violence, particularly as hospitals face potential electricity shortages. Inside Gaza, rescuers raced to pull survivors and bodies from the rubbles of 3 collapsed buildings on Sunday morning. According to photographs circulated by residents and journalists, the Israeli airstrikes left a crater that blocked one of the main roads leading to Shifa, the largest hospital in the strip. In the burst of airstrikes early on Sunday, Israel also targeted the home of Yael Adsinar as the most senior Hamas official in Gaza, who since 2017 has headed the group's political and military wings, Hamas TV station said. On Saturday, Israel airstrikes killed 8 young cousins who had gathered to celebrate Eid with their mothers. The Israel Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu went on US television on Sunday morning to insist his forces were doing all they could to minimize civilian casualties. The reason we have these casualties is because Hamas is criminally attacking us from civil neighborhoods, from schools, from homes, and from office buildings, he told CBS News Face in the Nation program. He would not have a justification for targeting the 12-story press building in Gaza on air, but later claimed Hamas had an intelligence unit inside. Associated Press and other news organizations using the building said they had seen no evidence of Hamas present. The US ambassador to the UN, Linda Thomas Greenfield, made comments that were similar to European Security Council meetings, calling an end to Palestinian rocket attacks and for both sides to abide by international law. We also urge all parties to protect medical and other humanitarian facilities as well as journalists and media organizations. We are particularly concerned about protecting UN facilities as civilians seek shelter in about 2 dozens of them. Thomas Greenfield called for an end to evictions, demolitions, and settlements construction of East Jerusalem and the rest of the West Bank, while the content of the US remarks were little different in tone from US allies. The Biden White House had throughout the week blocked the US from joining a common Security Council statement. In his own remarks, Biden has emphasized Israel's right to self-defense, though in a phone call with Netanyahu on Saturday, the president also raised concern about the safety and security of journalists following the bombing of the Gaza press building. On Sunday evening, in a pre-tapped video aired at an event to mark the Muslim Eid holiday, Biden said the administration was working with Palestinians and Israelis towards a sustained calm, adding that both deserve to live in safety and security. Palestinians and Israelis equally deserve to live in safety and security and enjoy equal measure of freedom, prosperity, and democracy. At the UN on Sunday, Palestinian Foreign Minister Riyad al-Maliki took aim at Biden's position. Remember that each time Israel hears a foreign leader speak of its rights to defend itself, it is further emboldened to continue murdering entire families in their sleep, Maliki told the Security Council. Haider Amar, the US Deputy Assistant Secretary for Israel and Palestinian Affairs in the region, talking to Israel and Palestinian leaders. Israel press accounts cited officials as saying that so far Amar has not convening an unequivocal US demand for a ceasefire or laying down a timetable for a ceasefire, but was also warning against escalation. Thank you.